Well, a good board member is like a good parent. And I really look for that. And most of our owners here are seniors. So they have a lot of experience in raising their kids. Many of them are grandparents already. And those kinds of caring and the idea that you're investing in the future of your child is brought right over to investing in the future of your condominium here.
A regular highlight of the HOA Insights podcast is our Board Heroes feature, where we dedicate one episode each month to celebrate the remarkable efforts of HOA board members. To us, a board hero is one of the 2 million elected volunteers who deserve recognition for excelling in a role that often goes unnoticed. Today, we're excited to spotlight one of these exceptional board heroes and share their inspiring story. If you match our definition of a board hero or know someone who does, please reach out to us. Our contact details and those of our sponsors are provided in the show notes.
Welcome back to HOA Insights, Common Sense for Common Areas. I'm Robert Nordlund, and I'm here today for episode number 117 with another one of the board heroes we're proud to celebrate. Lynn Ochberg is a regular listener and a board member of her Florida Community Association. She wanted to share some of her observations and insights from her years of experience. She's been a Florida board member, a Michigan board member, and was formerly in Michigan a city councilwoman. So we jumped at the opportunity to have her on the program so she could share her experience with you. Well, I hope you enjoyed last week's episode number 116 with regular co-host and insurance expert Kevin Davis, seeing the world through his eyes as a leading D&O insurance provider. In that episode, we spoke about the actual cost of the incivility that we are seeing more and more of all around us. If you missed that episode or any other prior episode, you can find them on our podcast website, hoainsights.org, on your favorite podcast platform, or on our YouTube channel. But better yet, subscribe to the podcast in order to get every episode delivered to you right to your phone or mobile device. Well, those of you watching on YouTube have the advantage of seeing us, and you can see that I've got my HOA Insights mug here, one of my favorites. And you can get something like that from our merch store, which you can browse through from our hoainsights.org website or the show notes. And you'll find we have plenty of free items there, like board member Zoom backgrounds and some specialty items for sale, like mugs. But you can get this one for free. Just go to our merch store and pick out the mug you'd like and email me at podcast@reservestudy.com mentioning episode 117 mug giveaway. And if you're the 10th person, we'll ship it to you free of charge. Well, we enjoy hearing from you, and most episodes are in response to a topic you've recommended. So do stay in contact, letting us know what questions you have or topics that you'd like to hear more about. So leave us a voicemail at 805-203-3130. Leave a comment on the YouTube video, or send us an email at podcast@reservestudy.com. But back to today's episode. Lynn Ochberg is the president of her 91-unit Florida Waterfront Condo Association down in the Florida Keys. They were built in 1978, so just under 50 years old. The association consists of 7 5-story buildings on the Gulf side, and I realized that's not a lot of difference. That's just across the street for you, right?
Yeah. Key Largo is a very skinny little island.
Yeah, okay.
It's called Largo for being long, not
wide.
Enormous.
Yeah, so being on the Atlantic side is, for you, just across the street. Anyway, she's a lifetime learner, and we wanted to take advantage of her observations on working with things as crazy as dog owners, running meetings, financial operations, and everything else that comes from her years of experience as being a board member. And you board members know that the things you touch, the subjects you touch are diverse, and so we just wanted to have Lynn on the program. So, Lynn, let's start out by telling us about the board at your association.
Our board consists of 9 members. We have 1 from each of our townhouses and 2 from our tall building, which has the extra 35 people in it. And then we have 2 at-large members, so that they represent the spirit of the whole community, supposedly.
Got it. Because I was thinking for 91 units, 9 seemed like a lot of board members, but that's actually kind of a good thing now, the way you describe it, because it's building representatives.
Yes.
and then plus a couple of at-large to kind of blend things together. Is that a lot of people to handle, a lot of people to work with, or
I've
does
been
that end up
on
being a
littler boards and bigger boards. What the main virtue of it is it's an odd number so that a vote can be dispositive. There's always an either more or less. Yeses or nos.
I like that. Now, I'm going to stereotype here. Is your community one that is full-time residents or part-timers? Like, do you have a problem with a lot of people being out of town or not on property?
Actually, we have a mix of both, but most of our members are Miami residents who come here for the weekends.
Interesting. How far of a commute is that?
It's a 1 hour, unless the traffic is bad.
Yeah, not bad. Okay. And then just the organizationally, you're professionally managed?
Yes, we are fortunate to have an excellent professional manager. He came from managing a very extensive golf club that had its own restaurant and many other facilities as well. And he's just wonderful. We've had him now for 3 years, and it was such a pleasure negotiating his employment contract.
I like that. Is your manager an employee of a larger management company
No,
or an
no,
employee of?
he's my employee.
Ouch, ouch. President of the association, my employee.
Well, I got to do the interviews and composing the contract.
Got it. Okay. So works for the association. And how big of a team? Is there a lot of maintenance or
Oh yeah,
tell
we
me
have
what?
the usual amount of maintenance. Here in the tropical southeast, things grow even without rain, which is what has been happening. So we always have to have landscapers and regular maintenance people for everything from the elevator to keeping the leaves off the road and everything like that. But our total of 7, and 2 of them are in the office. We have a regular associate manager and weekly an auditor who comes in to help us with the books.
Fantastic. So you have, I want to say, you've got some professionals stacked around you to ensure that you are, as board members, making decisions, not doing tasks, it sounds like.
Right.
I like that. Okay. And that's an asterisk for everyone to remember. Board members are there, and maybe I should have you articulate this. My sense is that board members are there to help make decisions and guide, not be volunteer laborers.
Oh, definitely. I don't let anybody do any work other than thinking and talking and discussing possible new projects or glitches in old ones as we manage to get through each year within our budget.
Yeah. Well, obviously, and then you've set the budget so you have room for that kind of payroll to get those things done.
Right.
I like that. Okay. So, some things cost money, and
They sure do, especially insurance these days.
we that's an asterisk for me. We can talk more about that. And remember, Lynn's in Florida, so there's a lot of legislative things going on. There's a lot of storm-related damage, and insurance is expensive. How long have you been at your association?
Well, we rented here during the vacation season, which is winter time, for 3 years. And then I bought a place, bought a unit, and it just happened to coincide when COVID happened. So we just stayed.
Got it. Okay. So
That's
easy.
been 6 years ago now.
And this sounds like you are pretty darn happy being full-time resident there.
Oh, yes, I love it here. It's like living in paradise.
I like that. What's a Michigan winter do to your spine at this point in time?
It's really good to be away from it. I don't have to shovel snow anymore.
I like that. Okay, so you're there as a renter, kind of testing the water, testing the environment. What got you interested in being a board member at this new place?
Well,
New for you.
I attended a lot of the meetings of when I was just a renter, which of course you're not really supposed to do, but I'm nosy enough to have done anyway. And I noticed there were so many infrastructure repair projects that hadn't been done. And our manager at that time was unable to get 3 bids, which is required by the Florida condo law. You need 3 bids on a major project.
Okay.
And he was unable to get them. And I thought, well, if I were on the board, I'd be able to get them. And so I ran for the board. And sure enough, I've been able to get an awful lot of things done since I've had the privilege of being on this board.
Got it. Okay. Well, I've been in the Keys a few times. Once, I think, for a wedding, and then a number of times doing a reserve site inspection. And yes, to a degree, it is, you could say it's remote, but that depends where you are. But you are just an hour from Miami. So it seems like with a little bit of diligence, you can get people to get things done, right?
Well, it depends on, for instance, how recent the latest hurricane was. And then there's competition for various kind of repair contractors. And recently we had the Surfside buildings fall down, and
2021.
and new legislation that requires all of our major infrastructure to be able to meet a milestone inspection. And that made everything more difficult to compete for contractors to meet those new requirements. So that's the background that just happened to occur when I became president.
Yeah. Well, let me, if I can step in for just a moment and tell everyone from 49 other states. In Florida, their legislative response to the Surfside tragedy was twofold. One was there needs to be a milestone inspection, a structural inspection, and then they upgraded the standards for what a reserve study is, and finally put some teeth into that, some mandatory elements of that. So yes, the milestone inspection needs to be done because the Florida legislators wanted to make sure that buildings were structurally sound. And wasn't that
Right.
3 stories and taller?
Yes, it was. And we have, as you noted, 6, 7 buildings, and they all have, they're all over 3 stories, or they're up. 5 of them are 3 stories, and 1 is 5 stories.
And you have incredible saltwater exposure from
Oh yeah,
the Atlantic
but we've
and the
always
Gulf.
had a spalling item on our annual budget to deal with whatever the salt water has done to our concrete, but year to year. But that was a major part of the milestone inspection process.
When I talk to my clients, I always remind them that Mother Nature and Father Time are the bad guys here. It's not the legislation. It's not the board. It's not an individual who's pushing for repairs. It's just Mother Nature and Father Time are harsh. And you've got salt air environment. It's warm. It's moist. And that's going to do a lot of damage. And you've got to stay ahead of that, or your building is going to suffer.
That is the truth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go down that path. Does your board see the truth pretty clearly?
I think they do, yes. And in fact, I've had no problem when we need to approve a contract. It's always a unanimous decision to go ahead with
Interesting.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a moment ago you spoke about you enjoyed, or you liked the idea that it was an odd number, so you could always have a
Just in
majority and
case,
minority.
yeah,
Just in
that's
case.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Are many, or can I say, are many or most of the decisions you make unanimous as a board?
Yes, they are. It's only on very personal issues, such as whether dogs should be allowed on the beach, kind of thing. There are going to be really 2 sides to certain kinds of issues that deal with the personal preferences of people. But on issues like whether your building's going to fall on you, no, unanimity is very reliable.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you're all, when it comes down to fundamental or foundational type issues, the board is of one mind that we like living here and we want to keep this place sound.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Do you want to tell me about, it sounds like this might be interesting, dog walking?
Well, we're
Or is
currently...
that a hot topic you don't want to touch?
Yeah, well, I'll be happy to touch it. But recently, the feds have made this interesting distinction between pets and animals, especially service animals and emotional support animals. The federal law, the ADA, the FHA, and HUD rules now have determined that those two categories, service animals and emotional support animals, are not pets. And we had a very old rule regarding how to, whether you're allowed to walk your dog here or there, and enough weight limit on pets, but we never anticipated, at least not 50 years ago when the rules were written, it wasn't anticipated that there would be these new categories of
Okay.
dogs. So people here who've been looking out their windows have seen a lot of really big dogs, because we have a 15-pound limit on pet dogs. And so they say, oh, where did that dog come from? That really large dog. And it's created an issue that has to be addressed. And we're in the process of designing new, not just pet rules, but animal rules.
Interesting.
And just yesterday, we had a subcommittee meeting on it where I got to hear all the emotional feelings of not just board members or committee members. It's a subcommittee of the Buildings, Grounds, and Security Committee. So far, I've just been recording everybody's druthers, and we're on draft number 8. And I'm now, after yesterday's meeting, I plan to conduct a survey. We use SurveyMonkey to find out what people really want. And after that, draft number 9 will occur, and hopefully we'll reach community unity, always my favorite phrase, and proceed.
Okay. Well, I want to point out something that you said there that I don't want to let it pass. You said a subcommittee. So you've got 9 people on the board. You have a subcommittee that's feeding the board information, advising, and you stopped in to hear what they had to say. So you have people doing your research. Do your committee structures, do they end up being training ground for new board members?
I sure hope so, because I'm not going to last forever. And I work very hard to encourage people to try volunteering, to join committees, and to help me with various research projects. Look this up, look that up, ask your whole floor what they feel about it.
Yeah. And there's 2 sides of that. One is it's an opportunity for them to get involved in community, take hold of what do we want to do here at our community, and it also gives them a taste of how they can help. And it's not going to be overwhelming. It could be, help me with the pet versus dog type issue, do the research on ADA, Florida laws, whatever, and come up with some reasons. And you're also, if you're on draft 8, it's very clear that you're listening to them. Their feedback matters. And it becomes their community. You've probably heard, I hope you've heard, and I'm talking to everyone here, when Kevin Davis is on the program, he talks about trying to lower the temperature, taking away people's anxiety. And when you're listening to people, and when Julie's on the program, she talks about you can never have enough communication. What are we thinking? What are we doing? How can we hear from you? And these are all good things. I want to hear more about your board, what drives it, what board member characteristics you're looking for. But I'm looking at the clock here, and I think it's time to take a quick break and hear from one of our generous sponsors, after which we'll be back to hear more from Lynn Ochberg.
Numbers matter, and we need numbers like game scores and bank balances to let us know where we stand. The same is true for your association. Is yours thriving or struggling? Let me introduce you to the FiPhO Health Score, like your own personal FICO credit score. Now in one simple number, owners and boards can learn the combined financial, physical, and operational health of their association. The good news, it's free at ourfipho.com. That's our, FIPHO.com. Learn how your association measures up.
And we're back. Well, Lynn, before the break, we started talking about the board members and the feeder source that you have of committees and how you're hearing from people. And by golly, if you're on the 8th draft of a policy, you're certainly listening to people and responding to them and communicating. But tell me, what do you look for in a board member, or what do you think makes for a good board member?
Well, a good board member is like a good parent. And I really look for that. And most of our owners here are seniors, which is true of all over Florida in condominium associations. And so they have a lot of experience in raising their kids. Many of them are grandparents already. And those kinds of caring and the idea that you're investing in the future of your child is brought right over to investing in the future of your condominium here. I don't have any trouble at all trying to, in getting people to volunteer. And we usually have 3 or 4 people for each position that they run for in our annual elections. So that's good, because then the rest of the people pick the one that they think will serve them the best.
I'm almost to the point of being stunned. We hear so much about people struggling to find board member candidates and having to appoint them and having to cajole people. But I think you've done so much preparation in having committees, having staff support.
Delegation of parts of jobs so that I don't have to do everything. I mean, it's not about me. It's about the whole community. And
you don't have a man killer job. Yeah, you have How many hours a week are you spending doing board work?
It varies, and depending on what kind of issues are coming up. If there's a big contract to be let, I have to read it very carefully. I guess I'm a little compulsive about some things just from having a legal education, and I'm not going to sign anything that I haven't read. And that takes quite a while, because you have a $1 million contract. You darn well better read every word.
Yep.
Because that's all our members' contributions.
You're talking about it's an okay part-time job, okay? It's not overwhelming. It's not a full-time job. So it's hours, and it varies a little bit because your hobby, avocation, you're a painter, right?
An artist, yes.
Yeah. So
ever since I was 3 years old.
Yeah. So you like to do that, and that gives you peace, that gives you fulfillment, and you're literally a parent, and you're also a board member at this association. And so it seems like that almost comes kind of natural for you.
Yeah, well, I've been doing it all my life. I love to do volunteer work. I did some undergraduate work at Harvard, and when I first got there, the house mother in the dorm I was in said, "Okay, young ladies, your job in life will be to be community volunteers."
Oh, gee.
First, find a good husband here at Harvard, and then prepare yourself to be his support and community.
You're dating yourself.
I know. But actually, it went right to my heart, because I'd always been aware of the concept of a social contract. We get a lot of good things from living in communities, and it's only fair that we pay back by volunteering. So it all made sense to me.
Yeah.
My parents read Jean-Jacques Rousseau's Social Contract to me when I was 12 years old. So
yikes.
I had it ground in.
Yeah. Well, but then again, it's not just living in community. You've been investing in this community. You've created peace. You've created communication channels. You've created subcommittees. People feel like they're involved. Each building has a voice for the association. They have their building representative. I'm building 5, I'm building 2, that kind of stuff. You've got those communication channels, and it sounds like it's a beautiful place to live and a nice, not nice physically, but nice operationally place to live.
Yes.
I like what and that has taken an investment of time over years to create that community there.
Well, it always has room for improvement, too.
Yeah. Well, you said $1 million contract. You hinted to me earlier that you either have or just recently had a big project at your association. Tell me about that.
Yes, I've signed the contract, not only $750,000 for a new dock, which was a very interesting experience, because although we've employed your company, Association Reserves, for many, many years, and I've, memorized the reserve plan. The dock that we have had, very sensible amount of money put aside for repair, 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 repair. But in 50 years, the dock is ready to be replaced. The
Interesting.
local contractors in docks say there's no more possibility for repair.
Got it.
And so that was a big challenge because it wasn't on our reserve plan. And convincing the community to have a special assessment to pay for $750,000 project, it wasn't that hard because the need was very obvious. And our manager took photographs that showed it in what terrible condition it was in. And once it was obvious that it threatened the safety of users, that made the issue very easy to convince the rest of the people that it had to be done.
Yeah. Well, I just pulled my calculator out here to double check. So that's a better part of $10,000 per home. And it wasn't in the reserve study. And I take the hit on that. We tend to be in the repair type business. It's hard to anticipate that eventual life failure. But another thing I heard was photographs, because a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Oh, yes.
And
well, as an artist, I know that.
Of course. And so you said, here's where we are. Here's the money that we have. Here's the pictures that make our point. And it's going to take a special assessment. But then again, I would trust that home values would support that special assessment and maybe even benefit from a brand new dock.
Yeah, that is what part of the advocacy that was conducted by my colleagues and me.
Excellent. Okay. And I keep coming back to being so impressed by your communication skills and the way you've been organizing things and directing things. And does that come from city council and your time in Michigan also, or is that just innate to who you are?
Well, I'm so old that I've had a lot of experience with all those things.
Let's get back to characteristics of a board member. We've talked on the program about the C's, how you need to be someone who cares, someone who's curious, someone who is able to be courageous, to see that, like you did, that we're past repairing. It's time to face the fact that we need a new dock. And that communicate effectively. You're touching on those things. You mentioned being a good parent, where you're caring for and you're investing in their future that will outlive you as a parent.
Right.
What do you see as board member characteristics?
Well, all those you mentioned, but also to be a good board member, you should be patient, productive, precise, prepared.
Wait. I'm taking notes here.
Oh, you're taking notes. Well, you'll have to
Patient.
watch your own program.
I got my pen is smoking. I'm taking so many notes. Patient,
productive, precise, prepared, professional, perspicacious.
You're going to force me to Google to spell that correctly.
Well, go right ahead.
Not on the program. I'm going to do that later.
And finally, you have to learn to be as pleasant as possible.
I like your voice.
No, wait a minute. I like your voice.
Okay. Mutual Admiration Society here.
Ever since I watched this program, you've been a voice model for me. It's a very good voice for helping people do their jobs in a good mood.
Well, you're very kind. But just the way you said that last phrase before we went down this tangent reminded me there's a golf course I play at that the starter is a woman. And she just has the most pleasant voice. It's like, Nordlund, Johnson, Frederickson party of two, time to be on the first tee. And you feel like she's calling you to dinner. And it's just, it's fun to have that.
Well, it's the mom voice. It's important to be like a mom. Like I've fed a parent, but in my case, I've only been a mom. And it's you get a lot of experience in managing people, just managing your children and as well your spouse. So it's all part of a a system that we have in our country and all over the world. Good moms make good managers.
I like that. Well,
in my not very humble opinion.
yeah. Well, for everyone listening, I'll get Lynn's list of P words in the show notes, so you're not having to play this over and over and over and memorize it if you're driving. So I'll have this for you in the show notes. But as we're starting to, I'm looking at the time, we need to start wrapping this up. Are there any particular victories or proud moments from your, how many years have you been on the board so far?
6. On the board, 4.5, 5, something like that.
And you time out after how many years?
8. Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta find a replacement by the 8th year.
Well, it sounds like you've got people competing to be on the board, so I think you'll be doing fine. But as you look back on what you've brought to the table so far, tell me some high points.
Well, actually, the high points for me, other than managing to get everything done that needs to be done, are when people say thank you. It just warms the cockles of my heart. And I'm so grateful that people recognize that that we're doing well and that we're meeting our budget goals. And we're also creating a lot of new assets for the community, which helps to maintain the investments of new owners. And we have a good supply of those. Florida is suffering from a downturn at the moment in our real estate industry, but we've been fortunate to have a continuous supply of new investors. And I think that what the board does makes that happen. And I'm very grateful to the board, and the board occasionally even shows their gratitude to me. And I can't tell you there's nothing better than that.
Fantastic. Well, you said earlier you've been making some goodwill investments, and I sometimes think of that as political capital. And the political capital floats things forward. It moves, it fuels progress. Can I ask you what what your percentage of yes votes were for that big special assessment?
Oh, on the board? Unanimous.
Yeah. No, not. Did the owners have to pass a special assessment, or did the board pass a special?
No, only the board. In Florida, just the board has the authority to do that, and it was unanimous. Now, I make personal investments using my hobby of art.
Okay.
And I draw everybody's grandchildren and pets and wedding pictures and whatever comes to my attention. And I love framing them nicely and just giving them away. And then I do a lot of acrylic painting to decorate our clubhouse. And I got everybody to join me to create a mural on our clubhouse wall of the scenery all around us, and include all the indigenous animals that we enjoy watching and caring for. So those are my personal investments that are just because I happen to have had art as a hobby all my life. It's wonderful to share it.
Well, just to think of you walking around the community, people know that you're Lynn, the board president. Good things are happening under your tenure on the board. People are saying thank you. You're making me think next time I'm in South Florida, I'm going to have to look you up and take that 1 hour drive from Miami if I'm there and come and visit.
You'd always be welcome, Robert.
This looks like a fantastic place. Well, Lynn, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on today's program. Any final thoughts to share on your board member experience to share with our audience today?
Well, I just recommend every board member in a condo association or an HOA to watch your programs, because you can learn a lot and be better prepared to make your constituents much happier.
Well, let me follow up on that. Haven't you been kind of a lifetime learner, taking advantage of lots of things out there?
Oh, sure. I even learned Mandarin when I was 41.
Oh, yikes. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's also just an openness to what is there out there. That's that curiosity that we talked about earlier. Well, we want to publicly acknowledge Lynn for performing a thankless job well in what sounds like a physically beautiful place to live. We're glad she's there on the board to keep it operationally sound, to build community, to match the property's natural beauty. Well, we hope you gain some HOA insights from Lynn's observations and experience. It helps you bring common sense to your common area. And remember, if you match our definition of a board hero or know someone who does, please reach out to us. We love having board heroes on our program. Our contact details are provided in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to another great episode next week.
You've been listening to HOA Insights, Common Sense for Common Areas. If you like the show and want to support the work that we do, you can do so in a number of ways. The most important thing that you can do is engage in the conversation. Leave a question in the comment section on our YouTube videos. You can also email your questions or voice memos to podcast@reservestudy.com or leave us a voicemail at 805-203-3130. If you gain any insights from the show, please do us a huge favor by sharing the show with other board members that you know. You can also support us by supporting the brands that sponsor this program. Please remember that the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the hosts and guests, with the goal of providing general education about the community association industry. You'll want to consult licensed professionals before making any important decisions. Finally, this podcast was expertly mixed and mastered by Stoke Video and Marketing. With Stoke on your team, you'll reach more customers with marketing expertise that inspires action. See the show notes to connect with Stoke.